We wrap up our college football predictions for 2025, predicting every single game in the college football playoff. But first, I'll start with my projections for all 35 bowl games not involved in the playoff. These are based on my win-loss predictions revealed over the past couple of days, so to see where I placed your favorite team among others, make sure to check out all of my YouTube shorts along with my long-form video covering all of my predictions for every team. Also, be sure to watch my top 25 video where I revealed what the rankings could look like at the end of the season according to my predictions. There I also revealed the playoff bracket that I'll be predicting later on in this video. But let's start off reviewing the non-playoff bowl games. So first I want to address the Pac-12 bowl situation. It's the same as last year. All former members of the Pac-12 are eligible for both their conference and the Pac-12's affiliations. These are my predictions for all the former Pac-12 teams, and that you can see which teams are bowl eligible and what affiliations I gave them. Utah is the top non-playoff Pac-12 team, so they get the Alamo Bowl. That creates an interesting scheduling quirk, which occurred last season as well. The Alamo Bowl has affiliations with the Big 12 and the Pac-12. Utah is currently in the Big 12, but they represent the Pac-12 for this game, so they'll be playing fellow Big 12 team Kansas State in the Alamo Bowl. I know it's weird, but hopefully it makes sense. It happened last year with BYU and Colorado. For all the other bowl games, I spent time making sure that each team gets a new affiliation so that they won't play at the same bowl location nor against the same team as they did in 2024. For power conferences, all of their affiliations against other power conference teams were filled first, then against a group of 5. So for example, the ACC has 3 bowl games against group of 5 teams, so it slotted the top teams against the other power conference teams, and the last 3 ACC bowl eligible teams in those ACC versus group of 5 bowl games. And then I also considered conference rank against bowl game prestige as well as geographical proximity, and so after everything was considered, you end up with these matchups. And I think they're all pretty good games. The Citrus Bowl features my first 2 teams out of the college football playoff picture, Florida and Michigan. I mentioned it in my top 25 rankings, so be sure to watch that if you missed it. The Duke's Mayo Bowl is funny as it features Duke, the school. And in the NFL, the Tennessee Titans quarterback is infamously known for Mayo. Shout out Will Levis. You have the 2023 runner-up Washington against the team who finished the 2023 season undefeated and missed the playoffs in Florida State. They meet in the Holiday Bowl. I have 2 dark horses flying under the radar, Baylor and Missouri in the Liberty Bowl. No one's talking about Missouri this year, even after 2 consecutive 11-win seasons. Baylor finished 2024 in a 6-game win streak after a 3-9 record the previous year. 2 crafty coaches meet in the Music City Bowl as Illinois takes on Ole Miss. 2 explosive offenses meet in the ReliaQuest Bowl between Indiana and South Carolina. 2 conference favorites meet in the Pop-Tarts Bowl when SMU plays BYU. And Tortillas meet cannons as Texas Tech faces Oklahoma in the Texas Bowl. Moving into the Power 4 versus Group of 5 bowls, we have these 9 matchups. If these played out in real life, I feel rather confident picking Group of 5 schools Army, Tulane, and Navy in their respective bowl games. But these should all be competitive matchups. You have a Big East reunion between Syracuse and South Florida, and pseudo-power conference bowl games between Oregon State and TCU, as well as Washington State's Minnesota. Those would both be fun matchups. Moving to the Group of 5 versus Group of 5 bowls, I have MAC champion Toledo taking on Sunbelt champion James Madison. My Conference USA champion Western Kentucky is in the Bahamas Bowl. AAC champion Tulane was in the Birmingham Bowl revealed in the previous screen. And I have Boise State, the Mountain West champion, representing the Group of 5 in the college football playoff. Also of note, a pair of conference runner-ups in Liberty and UNLV face off in the Hawaii Bowl. And Sunbelt runner-up Louisiana Lafayette takes on Jacksonville State in the New Orleans Bowl. But here's my college football playoff bracket under the new straight seeding model that keeps the 5 auto bids but removes all the auto buys. So from my top 25 rankings video, this is what the playoff bracket ended up like. The first round games will all be contested on college campuses, and we saw how invaluable home field advantage was last year, as all 4 home teams won the first round playoff games. This year I think Penn State, Notre Dame, and Oregon can successfully defend their home turfs against inferior opponents. Look at Miami having to fly diagonally across the country from the southeast to the northwest. Like, you can't get any further apart than Eugene and Miami, so Oregon's home field advantage would definitely be noticeable. But in the 4th matchup, I trust that Alabama and all of their playoff experience will help propel them past Arizona State, even in Tempe. So moving into the second round of the playoffs, these quarterfinal matchups will be contested at 4 of the New Year's 6 bowl games, the Cotton Bowl, the Orange Bowl, the Rose Bowl, and the Sugar Bowl. I believe Ohio State can get past Alabama. Alabama is not quite the same team that Nick Saban coached, although Kalen DeBoer has developed quite the roster over the past couple of years that both fits his scheme and compares with the SEC's best. Alabama boasts an insane wide receiver class, but they have big shoes to fill in the back 7 of the defense. Ohio State boasts All-Americans Jeremiah Smith and Caleb Downs, and also picked up edge rusher Bo Atkinson at the transfer portal, so I'm going to take Ohio State and Ryan Day's experience over Kalen DeBoer's product, which is still a work in progress. Georgia plays Penn State. I want to reinforce that the Nittany Lions have lost 15 consecutive games against AP top 7 teams going back to 2016, so we really need to see results in the field before we pick them in these high-profile matchups. And no, last year's playoff wins against SMU and Boise State aren't convincing enough for me, so I'll take Kirby Smart's Georgia Bulldogs for the win in this matchup. Texas faces Notre Dame. This is the matchup I feel the least confident about in the quarterfinals. Texas is my SEC champion. They have one of the most experienced backfields in the country, and along with defenders Colin Simmons and Anthony Hill, who combined for 17 sacks a year ago. But they've had 23 players drafted over the past 2 years, more than anybody else in that time span. And also, Arch Manning is getting hyped a ton, probably more due to his last name than his in-game performance, having only started 2 games, so there's a chance he might not live up to his lofty expectations. Notre Dame is quite the 1-2 punch in the backfield, along with making significant strides at the receiver position in the offseason. The Fighting Irish only lose 6 players in the draft, so they return much of their production from 2024, and I don't know, Texas has had chances to win the national championship both last year and the year prior and squandered them both. And at this point in the offseason, I feel like Texas has more question marks than Notre Dame, so give me the 6-3 upset. Finally, Clemson meets Oregon. Clemson had 6 consecutive top 5 finishes from 2015 and 2020, but have yet to finish even close to that mark ever since the COVID season. It appears Dabo Swinney's team is finally ready to return to elite status under quarterback Cade Klubnik. Oregon holds in the nation's 5th best transfer portal class, but they also have an inexperienced quarterback who only started 5 games in 2 seasons, and they lost 10 impact players to the NFL draft. Dabo Swinney's had tons of playoff success at Clemson. Can't really say the same about Oregon, so I trust that Swinney can coach the Tigers to a victory over the Ducks. The Fiesta and Peach Bowls host the college football playoff semifinals. Ohio State has plenty of star talent in Jeremiah Smith and Caleb Downs, along with bringing in the Big Ten's best recruiting class. Georgia has insane speed at receiver and has a strong backfield that can slug it out for a 4th quarter victory. Both teams bring in new quarterbacks, much like the Buckeyes matchup in the quarterfinals against Alabama. Quarterback Gunnar Stockton at Georgia has only started 1 game and he lost that game, and Ohio State's Julian Sain has never even started a game. Both teams lack experience on both sides of the trenches as well, so lots of similarities between the teams, but I'm going to lean on Ohio State for their high upside skill positional players, but it's going to be a close, gritty battle. Notre Dame faces Clemson in the other matchup in a pseudo-ACC game. I can see Tigers quarterback Cade Klubnik being comfortable and having quite a bit of time in the pocket. Notre Dame's biggest weakness, I'd say, is on the defensive line. The Tigers also have a pair of first-round draft hopefuls in the defensive line themselves in Peter Woods and TJ Parker, and I just see Clemson overwhelming Notre Dame in this game, probably not as close of a game as Ohio State versus Georgia. So that sets up a national championship game between Ohio State and Clemson, one team that has just returned to top the college football world after struggling to win a conference championship. One team, despite winning several conference championships themselves but in a weaker slate, they're looking to get back to the national championship level. Ohio State had the nation's top defense a year ago, and they match up really well against the Tigers in the trenches. The Buckeyes also have a number of experienced pass catchers who can really exploit Clemson's secondary, a unit that gave up almost 250 yards per game in the air in 2014. So I'm going to lean on Ohio State to successfully defend their title. I know, maybe not as ambitious of a national champion as, say, Penn State or Notre Dame or Texas, all of whom haven't won a national championship in decades. But I like Ohio State's coaching staff and the talent they bring in. They're not going to be content either, because remember, they didn't even qualify for the Big Ten championship game a year ago. And they lost to their arch nemesis for the 4th year in a row. So that hunger, I believe, can fuel them to another exciting finish for 2025. But what do you think? Who is your national champion? What about your favorite team? Can they land a high-end bowl game destination or even a spot in the college football playoff? Give me your thoughts down in the comments below, and have a good one.